Joel Chandler Harris and Slavery in the 19th Century by Matthew Clark. A little bit of biographical info on Joel Chandler Harris. He was born in Edenon, Georgia in 1848 to Mary Ann Harris, an Irish immigrant. He never had a father. He was deserted along with his mother just before he was born. Now, something like this, can really stunt some people's growth. So, with the help of people in the county that they were in, they really made do for him to have a good life. Now, one of the things that actually helped out was him getting a job with a newspaper company. Now, this was the only newspaper company that was published weekly on a southern plantation. It was there that he developed most of his relationship with the plantation Negroes that built up his stories later on. Now, Harris's apprenticeship ended in 1864 with the newspaper company Turnworld that he was working for when they were invaded by the Sherman's army in Putnam County. Now, this suddenly brought poverty to all, including Turnworld, the company he was working for, and this, kind of forced the ambitious young man to kind of move and seek his purpose out in the world. He fell in love with writing while working for the company, in which he wanted to go ahead and find somewhere else he'd be appreciated and that he could use his talents to go ahead and make a difference. He then found work at the Atlanta Constitution under the guidance of Captain Evan P. Howell, in which there he really started going ahead and writing his stories of Uncle Remus. Now, when he did that, they took a particular liking to it, and it started being published. Now, when it was published, it reached to the northern newspapers, and it kind of just spread. It spread very fast, and his fame came from just that. Almost overnight, it seemed like people fell in love with these stories. An analysis of the Uncle Remus stories. They were tales of African American trickster stories about the exploits of Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and other creatures that were recreated in the Black regional dialect. 2/3 of these stories derive from their deep structures and primary motifs of African American folk tales that were brought to the New World and then were told and elaborated upon by African American slaves living in the southeastern United States. Now, these stories and folk tales were gathered by Joel Chandler Harris while he was working with the news company and on the plantation. And so he befriended many of the slaves and was able to gain this information and gain these stories from them, and was able to put them together in order to develop the literature in which people read today, as far as the complete tales of Uncle Remus. The remaining stories have their roots more so in a European and Native American folklore that's kind of combined in what you see or what you read within the literature. Now, on one narrative level, Uncle Remus appears to be telling a story that's not only entertaining, harmless with the animals and the characters within the pre-Civil War Old South plantation tradition, that kind of highlights the stupidity of the physically stronger animals. Uh, it seems like it's not so much of a deeper meaning on one level of things, and I feel like many children could probably see that level of things. But on a deeper level, as an adult, if you were really to dissect as far as the deeper meanings and the things that stand behind a lot of what is in this literature, you'd be able to see that it's sort of initiating the young white listener at that time into the complex realities of adult life. He also goes to show the destructive power plays and status struggles among members of the animal kingdom who represent socially just being different, the jealousy, and definitely some other points there that really have to do with the human race itself. And with that, looking upon it now in relative to everything that was happening back then, you can definitely see the correlation of what was going on within slavery on the plantations with the tales and the contrast between African Americans and Caucasians. Now, Uncle Remus and American literature, he's made a great impact as far as what he's done with the stories. Joel Chandler Harris, being the author of the stories, is translated into nearly 30 foreign languages for people to read in other countries and different places. And with that, he's kind of expanding the stories of slavery and the tales to other cultures, which is big for American literature, and also it's been an impressively wide influence on writers within the American literature culture. We're talking about different galleries of children's stories, heroes that include the Jungle Book, the Peter's Rabbit, Winnie the Pooh, things that I've watched myself that haven't really understood the deeper meaning. That kind of made me go back and watch tales like this and really compare it and contrast to different social issues that were going on at the time. Different writers that he's inspired that have taken his work and used it to inspire their own has include Mark Twain, Charles Chesnutt, Zora Neale, Toni Morrison, Julius Lester, and many more that have taken the things that he's done with the story and used it within their own literature. Uncle Remus in American culture, one of the biggest things that happened was when Disney made the Song of the South. This was something that was considered a children's classic. It was made in 1946, and it was based upon the stories of Uncle Remus. Since its release, a lot of people, as the times have went on, it was a controversy because some people thought it was more of a racist thing, pointing out the black vernacular and the other qualities of the stereotypes, but being based off of the stories of Uncle Remus, you can see the different views of what people might have thought was acceptable and not acceptable within that time. Here are my sources in which I received some pictures and also as well information that went along with all of the research that I did for this project. I really enjoyed this class, and thank you.